Good afternoon everyone, and a slightly different time of departure from the norm. I've had a busy morning, I'm sorry guys. So our flight this morning has been delayed until this afternoon, but the good news is it does mean I can probably be with you for more of the flight rather than just the departure and the actual arrival. So here we are, beautiful weather in Lille, France, and we're heading eastbound. We're off to Warsaw in Poland, a place I have not visited for a long time, both in real life and the simulator actually. So just quickly show you where we'll be heading today. Have a quick look at that. So slightly strange departure routing. We have to head slightly south before heading north, and then obviously crossing eastwards, which not the most efficient, but it complies with all the rules and regs. So there we are. Air traffic control wise, I'm not certain we've got any air traffic control at the moment, so it's just us. Nothing, no one else to please other than ourselves. So great to have you guys all on board. And a big welcome, of course, to all the channel members. So we've got Chuni, Willie, Nick, and Nick, you're going to love this flight. It is an RNAV approach. I promise, I didn't know when I set the flight up, but it is an RNAV approach. So wonderful stuff. Okay, so we best start setting off, haven't we? I've already angered the passengers by being delayed until this afternoon. So here we are in Lille. Ooh, just letting that load for a second. A few lapses in frame rates while that scene reloads in. And have we got anyone around us? Oh, spun all the way around while loading there. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm well out of the way of you guys. So I'm nicely set up for our departure. Once again, cloudless skies. I hope that the live weather is working. So let me just come in and drop the live weather in for you. So for those of you that want the current meta, here it is. It does actually say ceiling and visibility okay, so that's probably quite accurate. Let me pop that in. Jimmy Nick can land runway 33 if he wants. I'm not. I think that's a much smaller runway. I would have to check charts, but I think that's the smaller of the runways. Okay, and the operational flight plan for those of you that want to follow along rather than watching me faff around with it on the screen, you can download that just there. There it is. Okay, so let me just get that out of the way. We'll start setting up, get some power. And do we have any ground services here at Lille? Power supply. There we go.
Lille ground Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, could you please send a ground power unit?
Airbus Golf.
There we go.
Echo Zulu Golf Sierra's ground power unit is on the road.
Wonderful. I don't even think I've got a pushback truck. You guys over there must have hogged all the pushback trucks, so I'm going to have one of those ghost ones. Right, so that's the external power. Let's get that connected up. And oxygen supply, and we'll start getting those ideas aligned. There we go. Turn the nav lights on as well. Let the ground know that we are on board. And self-loading cargo. I think I've not even got a ramp. What's going on? I've not even got a ramp here. Let's get the fly pad turn on. So passengers are just going to have to jump. Self-loading cargo then. Let's tell the cabin crew to start doing what they do.
Cabin crew, we can open the doors now and start letting them on board. Thanks very much.
Letting you guys on board, ready for a nice flight this afternoon. Willie, no bruising from the A330. Do you know what? I actually enjoyed that. I really enjoyed I know I dedicate myself to the A320 and I love flying the A320, but just flying something a little bit bigger, and the exterior model, wow, looked fantastic. I think if I could get the sort of functionality in that A330 as we've got here with the fly-by-wire mod, then I would be tempted to do more long hauls in that, which would be really, really nice. But unfortunately, I'm just spoiled. Well, we're all spoiled, aren't we, from fly-by-wire and the work that they've done. All right, let's get those doors open, and passengers can start coming on board. Well, yeah, that also makes me excited for the A380 fly-by-wire. RB26 does everything. Good luck flying first class on Easyjet, my friend. You may get a head pillow if you're lucky. Right, so ideas on the line, nav lights are on, seatbelt signs, leave those off for the time being. We've not finished refueling, and we can also get that, and we'll leave the APU until we finish refueling as well. Fuel pumps also off for the moment, but I will do the fire test. So engine 1 and engine 2 and the APU. There we go. Okay, let me just come down here then and start pulling stuff in from SimBrief. What I do want to check, actually, if I just go to my options, I want to check that all my settings have been saved after clearing it out and betraying it with the A330 AOC SimBrief. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's working absolutely fine. So let's go to the ATSU, let's go to the AOC menu, init press, pull information from the SimBrief servers. There we go, 1 hour 52 minutes the flight time today, Lille to Warsaw, and back to the AOC menu and our performance, weights and balance. Okay, so let's see if these all match up as we expect. Right, so block fuel is just shy of 5.7 tons, so that matches up, 5675. Let's load that in. That's the fuel loaded instantly, if only it was that quick in real life. And now let's check our payload of 152 passengers and a payload of 15.8 tons. That all matches up as well, so let's get the passenger weights loaded in. One thing I need to check as well is our zero fuel weight, make sure the airframe is correct. 56.8 zero fuel weight, 56.8. There we are, so that matches up as well. Happy with that. Alright, so let's just clear that for a moment. Right, if I did mileage one day in an A380, I think that's one of those that I would either start very early and leave, or we could start very early and arrive at like 10 PM Zulu time, and I'm afraid I wouldn't be there for all of it, unfortunately. Okay, so now the fuel load has been done. Let's just continue with our cockpit setup. So we'll get those signs on, we'll start the APU. We've already done the fire test. Let's get those fuel pumps turned on. And APU is now starting. Okay, let's turn up the standby instruments. And QNH here is 1028. We've still got that high pressure, haven't we, over Europe, so that's nice. 1028, there we go. And is the anti-skid on? Yes, it is. Let's have a look at the pedestal. Get everything set up here. We'll tune to Unicom to start making some announcements shortly. 122.8. And everything looks to be exactly where it should. Switching panel is back to normal after our problems yesterday. Let's hope we don't get any more freezing of the primary flight display. Let's come up to the glare shield. Let's turn that up a little bit. That's a little bit dark, isn't it? So our QNH 1028 and our departure. Let's just have a quick look at our departure clearance. So the departure clearance here. What's our initial climb clearance? Initial climb clearance is flight level 70. So pop that in and make sure that is set. There we go. Get the flight directors turned on as well. Okay, so let's turn up the brightness of our panels. Iris alignment in 4 minutes. let's have a look at the first officer's displays and we'll get those turned off. Might be turning those back on depending on how the flight goes, as we did on Monday. Okay, let's come down now and have a look at the flight management guidance system. So, aircraft status, we're still using an old AirX cycle to be updated shortly. Let's go on to init A. So our init request, this should hopefully now pull everything through from SimBrief. If we get the not in database error, we'll just clear that, clear the uplink, and init request again. There we go. Alright, so the alternate today is Echo Papa Sierra Yankee. Echo Papa Sierra Yankee. Oh, I've just changed the flight number. It was a long day yesterday, wasn't it? Well, while I'm doing it, Echo Zulu Yankee 3-4 Alpha Mike. There we go. Let's put that alternate back in, shall we? Echo Papa Sierra Yankee. Echo Papa Sierra Yankee. And pop that in there. Cost index today, standard, 8. And a cruising flight level of 370. And we've got minus 60, the cruise temperature. So let's just change that. HD, pop it in there. Good afternoon. I'm back in my comfort zone, HD. I'm not trying to fly something that weighs 100 tons. Okay, so let's have a look at our gears position. And IRS-3 is all aligned. We'd also, if I can get the charts up, where are the charts? So we are at parking stand. We'll just close that down. Open these charts. Parking stands and coordinates. Oh, they're actually on here. So we are, I think we're at Bravo 12. 50, 43, 3. I'm on the wrong page for this. Uh, 50, 34, 6. Are they still aligning? Oh, alignment in 1 minute. Might have to wait for those. Anyway, for now, let me just carry on. I can go back and check those. So, let's have a look at the flight plan. So, here's the flight plan. Where's that gone? As you can see, so the flight plan, departing runway 8, and it's the Matic 6 Echo departure, so we'll pop that in. Departing runway 8, and it is the Matic 6 Echo. Just make sure we get the right one there. Matic 6 Echo. Insert that. And then for our arrival, we're using the Bipper for Victor for runway 29. Clear that GPS primary, that's now aligned. Arrival, so runway 29. Trying the RNAV approach. RNAV runway 29 and the Bipper for Victor. There it is. And that via the Whiskey Alpha 371. I believe that is correct. We can just double check that. Via the Whiskey Alpha, sorry, 731 is that? Yeah, 731. There it is. Yep. And I believe if we just go to the actual approach, there's the initial approach fix, 731. So that's coded in nicely as well. Let's pop that in, insert, and have a look at our mileage then. So 864 miles, and on our flight plan, we've got 745 miles. There's a bit of a difference, isn't there? We'll go and have a gross check of that on the flight plan page now, I think. So let's have a look, see if there's anything really obvious in the way that stands out. So that departure looks as I would expect it to. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Scroll through there. Oh, actually, I know why there's a difference in the track mileage. It is because, just have a look at this. For some reason, none of the SIDs or the stars were actually pulled into the final briefing. So, we've got some extra mileage to do just because the SIDs and stars were missing in that briefing. So, blame the flight planners for that one. But I'm happy with how that looks. That approach looked a little messy, but we'll have a look at that on... in fact, let me just have a look at that. And go back. It seemed to do a sort of forward and backwards thing there, didn't it? Right, what happened? What happens here? Have we got the approach in twice? So, let's just zoom out. Ooh. I don't want to do the approach twice. I'm only landing there once. So, Bitmer, that is correct. And then, for some reason, right, okay, it goes direct to the airport and then back to Bitmer again. Let's see if we can clear that out. So, if we clear that out, clear Bitmer out for the second time, does that tidy that up a little bit? Let me just erase that. If need be, this is just one of the simulator bugs we have to work around, and we have to go direct. So the approach starts at Bitmer, and then the waypoint after Bitmer, if I bring that in, I'm only doing this for fuel planning purposes. So as you can see, after Bitmer we should go to Gomsa. HD, you're correct, the block fuel will be wrong, so we're going to add some more in. I'll see what the aircraft says actually once we've got this routing correct. So it should be Bitmer and then Gomsa, so that is correct. Let me clear out, if I can clear out that Bitmer, will it allow me to do that? It has allowed me, no it hasn't. It's not allowing me to delete anything. No, okay. So that's another one of those similisms. We're just going to have to get away with simisms rather. Okay, so as long as we're aware of that, then we'll we can budget for it, can't we? Okay, so the flight plan is coded in as much as we can. On the RadNav page, let's just come back down here. We'll pop in the airport VOR, just so we've got that in case of any problems. Lima Echo Quebec. And pop that in. There we are. Okay, so our init B page. In fact, HD, I'm glad you're here. Sorry, it's the takeoff page I need your help with. And I'll show you that in a moment. So the init B page, our zero fuel weight should be, check this out, zero fuel weight 56.8. Let's bang that in, 56.8, and a standard center of gravity of 30.0. And our headwind, is it a headwind or is it a tailwind? A trip wind, a very, very negligible tailwind component of 3. There we go. So, fuel planning then. The aircraft is going to compute that for us. Our actual operational flight plan is telling us that we need close to 5.7 tons. Let's have a look and see what the aircraft says. So the aircraft is now going to say 5.9 tons. Right, that's okay. What we need to do is we're burning fuel anyway, so let's get some more fuel added to that. Let's go back to our McDo menu, go back to the ATSU menu, go back to our AOC menu and the performance weights and balance. So let's take 6 tons of fuel, shall we? Oh, not 60 tons, 6 tons of fuel. Let's pop that in. And if they were reloading again, we'd have to do a few things, but thankfully we're in the simulator, so we can just hit the reload button. That then means that that's now increased to a value we're happy with. What it does mean now then, that our gross weight has changed. So our gross weight is now 62.7 tons, meaning the calculations I've done a bit ago for my flex temp takeoff is also incorrect. So we need to go through and have a look at that in a moment. So coming to this then, let's have a look at our takeoff performance page after we've just confirmed now that we're taking 5.9. So we'll confirm the block 5.9. So we've got a takeoff weight of 62.6. Let me double check. There we go. So there's the takeoff weight in the flight plan, but we're actually now 62.6 it is giving us. So on here, I need to now reload that. 62 and 6. Let's just recalculate that. So I had a flex temp of 65. That's now changing to a flex temp of 64. There we go. Okay, so I'll just get that out of the way for the moment. Let's go back to our performance then. So the performance here, the transition altitude. Let's have a look. Let's bring the charts back in. Transition altitude is, do we have these on the charts or are they just given by air traffic control? Oh no, 5,000 feet. Flaps 1. And right, HD. So the thrust reduction and acceleration. We're actually given figures here. It's noise abatement 1. However, the charts do suggest 1,500 and 3,000. So 1,500 and 3,000. However, would you go with that, or would you normally go the usual 1,000 and 3,000? Let me just bring that up, and we can have a look at that. Where is it? There we go. So it is comply with procedures, noise abatement 1. So they've got 15 and 3,000. So HD, would you go 1,000 and 3,000, or would you stick, because it's actually written here in the charts, to go with 15 and 3,000? Whilst you're just typing that answer, I'm just going to put that flex temp takeoff calculator in. And there's something else I need to bring to your attention as well, which I'll show you in a second. As the chart says. So in that case, let's pop that in. 15 and 3,000. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to calculate those V-speeds, then I'm going to just show you something else. So that's the V-speeds calculated. Okay, right, so many of you will be familiar with the WASPro website. Great website for calculating flex temp and takeoff performance. So as you can see, we've got the METAR in here for Lille. Config 1, PAX will be off, anti-ice off, runway is of course dry. And we're taking off from, we've got the METAR, we've just redone our actual takeoff weight. We're taking off runway 08. However, we're not using, if you look here, we're not using the full length of the runway to take off, and that is because, as you can just see here, it is, unless you taxi all the way down, you can obviously taxi all the way down and turn around, but you can take off from Tango 5, as is shown just there. But in order to do that, you've got to make sure your performance calculations are correct. So if I just get rid of that, there is an option here to select runway 08, taking off from Tango 5, which is what we've done in order to calculate the flex temp for the takeoff. So just be aware of that. You don't want to be calculating a flex temp takeoff for the full length of the runway when actually you're going to take off from an intersection. Okay, so with that all sorted, how are the passengers doing? They're nearly all on board. So our departure briefing then. Let's have a look at how we fly the departure. So pretty straightforward actually. It's takeoff, no turns below 7,000 feet, and then a right hand turn to 161. That should be coded in anyway on the flight plan. The FMGC down here, and then in fact we're going all the way down to Matix. And we can just double check that. What is this? This is the Matix 6 Echo, isn't it? Matix 6 Echo, yeah, so climb out, track 700 feet, and then we turn to intercept. We should all be coded in. HD is also the thrust reduction values in there as well. Where have they gone? Come back. Have we got the thrust and thrust reduction valves? Are you talking about on the performance page, HD? I thought they were changed here in the changed on there, unless they've not. Ah, fair enough. No, I see what you're getting at. I thought they were the. I thought the airport on the charts actually gave those. So, what's the elevation? The airport elevation is 156. The runway we're taking off. So, 1656 and 3656. There we go. Have I got my ruler on the cup? We'll have a look at that in a moment. And let's just go back to that noise abatement page. So there's the departure briefing. That's all we've got. We've got very little actually on the noise abatement part. So it's just telling you to use the actual procedures. Gotcha. Can we put it in that way? Try that again, that's not quite right. 3, 1. Oh, it's obviously rounding up. It's rounding up. So I guess that's close enough. 1660 and then 3160. There we go. Yeah, I had a 3,500 feet to the acceleration rather than just 3,000 feet. There we are. I know, Willie, I gave him a lie in this morning as well. Alright, so they're all now sorted, and I believe that boarding is now finished. Just in time. Okay, no problems with the weather. Aircraft, apart from having a faulty primary flight display, the aircraft is okay. No major threats with the regards to the surrounding terrain to the airport. However, let's just go through a couple of other things. So we've got our transition altitude, which is 5,000 feet. Remember, our initial climb altitude is flight level 70. So we need to make sure we go standard pressure, otherwise HD will smack me again. And the minimum safe altitude is quite low around here. Is it 2,000 feet? There we go. So let me get rid of that, and we can start welcoming you all on board for our 2-hour flight to Poland. Let's get some bleed air on. We've no air traffic control. I'm just going to double check that is still the case. I think it is. Yeah, there's no air traffic control. So let's just switch over to Unicom. We're on Unicom. That's fine. So let's get those doors armed.
Cabin crew, we're all ready to go, so please arm the doors and cross-check. Thank you.
And we can welcome you all on board.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and on behalf of Easyjet, let me welcome you on board your flight. We're just doing our final checks here in the
The traffic is at the far facing north.
Please get yourself comfortable with your seatbelts securely fastened and give the cabin crew your full attention during the safety briefing.
Sorry, I'm testing west if it's front.
From the flight deck once we are airborne.
Alright, so let's call our Phantom tug driver. Oh. Did anyone else just see the aircraft jolt as the tug connected just then? Let's get that beacon light on. And set transponder to auto. Alright, so before start checklist, the cockpit preparation is complete. Signs are on and auto. Ideas, do we have 3?
Legal traffic,
Nav green.
Airways, 5556, starting engines on the stand.
There we go. And the fuel quantity we've checked, reloaded, and checked that's all balanced. Flight management guidance system is all programmed. and altimeter is set 1028, 1028. We're going to continue the checklist, so check the doors are closed and armed, our rotating beacon light is on, mobile phone off, and parking brake is on. Alright, let's make the call that we're going to start pushing back. Lille traffic, Easy34 Alpha Mike is pushing back, facing west. HD, I've only just seen the message, sorry. So what will happen, what pitch power setting do you want to see at the thrust reduction and acceleration? Oh, putting me on the spot now. Okay, so let's just come back and call those up. So at the thrust reduction, we obviously go to climb power, and we need to maintain a positive speed trend, and we'll also have to call out, make sure that we get the correct calls on the FMA and announce that they have taken place. Fingers crossed. We'll avoid too much of a ruler on this departure, HD. HD, I'm going to let you give me that brief just to see where I've gone wrong there. So we're maintaining the pitch to keep around V2 plus 10, and we don't lower the nose to get the acceleration until passing about 3,200 feet the acceleration altitude. So hold that pitch at 15. Alright, well I've got absolutely no reason to get this wrong now. And thrust back to climb at thrust reduction. Okay, so have we got the tug connected? We do have the tug connected. Let's start pushing back. So we can lock the flight deck doors, release the parking brake. Let's just disconnect the ground power. Back we go. Just have a look outside to make sure we can get this pushback correct. Okay, so we will do a departure briefing review as we're taxiing down. Okay, so that's ongoing with the pushback and looking good. Engine mode select to ignition and starting engine 1.
Place the mask over your mouth and nose like this, and pull the strap to tighten it. If you are traveling with children, make sure you put your own mask on first before helping others. In the unlikely event of an emergency landing and evacuation, leave your carry-on luggage and items behind. Life rafts are located below your seats, and emergency lighting in the floors will lead you to the closest exit. We ask that you make sure that all carry-on luggage is stowed away safely during the flight. While we wait for takeoff, please take a moment to review the safety procedures on the card in the pocket in front of you. Thank you for your
Pushback
attention,
complete.
and we hope you enjoy the flight.
Parking brake on. We'll wait for engine 1 to stabilise, and then we shall start engine 2. Ah, did everybody else hear the PTU just kick in then? Or was that just me? Was it too quiet for you guys in the stream? But I did hear the PTU just then.
Yes. Traffic is
Starting engine 2.
taxiing to runway 08 via Victor 2, Papa, and then Tango 5.
There's also now a settings option here, look, if you have a look on the fly pad, just while I'm waiting for engine 2 to speed up. So you can actually put the PTU back to being audible in the flight deck. It says unrealistic next to it. Whilst I'm also waiting for that to spool up, I'm just going to type in my username. I wish this didn't clear it out every time, but then I think it might just be because I update the aircraft. So will that now load in? There we go. So engine 2 is now stabilized. So engine mode select back to norm. Let's get the APU bleed off. Don't need any anti-ice or anything like that. Ground spoilers armed. Flaps. And the Phantom tug driver can now disconnect and disappear after start checklist. So anti-ice is off. Ecam status is checked. Pitch trim. Let's have a look and see what we've got. 29.8. So let's have a little look. Always difficult to find this. Close enough to 30. 29.8. And just check down there as well. Okay, the after start checklist. Anti-ice off. Ecam status is checked. Pitch trim 29.8 and radar trim is 0. Okay, the pushback has disappeared. We'll announce our taxi intentions. Lille traffic easy 34 Alpha Mike, holding position before continuing taxi via Papa 3 to holding point Tango 5 for runway 08. So I'm going to let this cohort of aircraft, in fact, where's he going? His truck driver needs sacking. Let's pop the taxi lights on anyway. We'll leave our parking brake on for the moment. Whilst we're here though, we can be using this time wisely. So, flight controls. Full left, full right, neutral. Full up, full down, neutral. Full right, full left, on the rudder, neutral. Oops, didn't mean to select that. Ding the cabin. Right, so I really hope nobody's waiting for me because there's an aircraft in front of me. In fact, where is he? We might just give them a call, tell them that they need to obviously move, and we'll taxi after them. Can't be any worse than Gibraltar the other day, can it? Lille traffic, the Easyjet aircraft in front abeam stand Bravo 11, Bravo 12. We'll wait and we'll follow you. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Okay, so again, we're just going to continue to get everything set up. I'm just showing HD. I'm not all bad. Auto brake is on. Alright, let's disconnect that parking brake. Easy 34 Alpha Mike, taxiing now via Papa 3 to holding point Tango 5 for runway 08. HD. I swear, when COVID's over. Okay, so let's just run the departure briefing again. So, flex temp departure, noise abatement 1, no turns below 700 feet, then it's a right hand turn. And noise abatement 1 departure, thrust reduction, maintain the pitch to control the speed, and then only once passing acceleration altitude at around 3,100 feet, lower the nose and start to accelerate away. So before takeoff checklist, flight controls checked, departure briefing confirmed, flaps 1, FMA takeoff data 129 blue, 134 magenta, climb nav blue, 7,000 blue, 1 FD2, and flex temp
will be flying
64.
Following the fly UK via Victor 3, Victor 4, Victor 5, and holding at Tango 5.
So, I'm not sure the aircraft in front is actually on Unicom or communicating. I'll be interested to see if he uses the full length of the runway and goes down and backtracks, or whether he just takes off from Tango 5. The Aviator, hello, they are from Fly Live Studio. In fact, I've got a new overlay, I think, showing today. Do we like this one? Is it any good? So I believe that is Tango 4, just to the left. This is a modded airport as well, guys. So, looking really rather nice, with taxi signs all present and correct.
Clear traffic is SFR lining up on runway 08.
Well, HD, one of the things I wanted to do with the new banner was essentially make it smaller, so you guys got a much bigger overview of the flight deck. Sage, you can hear me breathe. I must be a heavy breather. The microphone might not be in the right place, actually. Hang on, that might be a bit better. It was a little high, actually. Where is this aircraft in front of me going? No, HD, I just need to pull my inhaler out before departure. So I'm just going to hold that here and see where this aircraft rolls to.
Field traffic
Past the start bars, it looks.
Taxi into runway 08 via Papa 3.
Okay, so whilst we're still holding here, so brake temperatures 110. Well, they're less than 150, so that's okay.
Clear traffic EJ54 is running on runway 08.
So we'll hold at the actual stop line. Whilst we're here then, let's start to get the lights on and prepare for our departure. We'd normally going to put those on once we've got clearance to line up. However, With no air traffic control, we can do this now. Let's turn those packs off. Make sure I turn the packs off. I'm sure I turned a generator off yesterday. So, our cabin is secured for takeoff. Best secure it in self-loading cargo as well, but we do have the message down there on the ECAM. Engine mode select norm TCAS, T-A-R-A, I have not yet set that. And tilt above. Transponder is on. Anti-ice not required and is turned off. So we'll wait for this aircraft to depart. Easy 1919. How many departing behind me? 2 departing behind me, so we'll line up and wait. What I'm going to do as well as he's just set off, let's just start that chrono. I can reset that, but just for spacing. Oh, HD, I think I might have just beaten you to that one. Always nice when that happens. And approach should be clear. Oh, HD, I've got you with me. Look, there you are.
Departing Easyjet.
Easy 34 off Mike line at runway 08, holding position for separation. So we'll just hold our position there. He's been gone now about a minute, so we'll just wait 1 more minute and then we can look to depart. So yeah, I hope you guys do like the new banner. It's just there so you've got more of an overview and you can see pretty much what I can see now. And the other one did look nice, don't get me wrong. I did like the other one. But we've also got the Easyjet font on this one. About another 30 seconds to go. I'm just looking at the chrono down there. Ronald, no, we're not in a holding pattern, and we don't want to be in a holding pattern, which is why we're just waiting a couple of minutes before departing, as one has just left us, also going to the same place. Okay, so that's 2 minutes. We can reset that. Alright, so takeoff. Start the chrono and set 50% N1 and flex temp. Man flex, SRS, runway, auto thrust blue. Passing through 80 knots. Quite a bumpy runway this one. V1 and rotate.
Positive red 10.
So once we pass 700 feet we can start to make that turn. Ignore the flight directors, guys. The flight directors give duff information at the starts of flights. So climb thrust any second now. There we go. Set climb thrust. Now we're just going to hold that there. Obviously watching the speed to make sure it doesn't drop too low, but it shouldn't do. Start to just straighten that up, and once we're happy and straight, because my PM can't do it for me, we'll get the packs back on.
Lille traffic speed or Skyways 5556. Departing runway 08.
We're now passing through the acceleration altitude, so let's lower that nose, get that positive speed trend, and then once passing S speed, we'll go flap 0 and disarm the spoilers.
Hello, traffic speedbird 594 will line up after the departing A320 at Tango 5.
That speed's creeping up nicely. I'm just lowering the nose a little bit to make sure that continues to climb. We also need to go standard pressure. And flaps 0. Spoilers disarmed. And we're away and clean. A-Rob 920. A lot of the reason I know what I'm doing is because of HD. Okay, no air traffic control online, so I'm just going to call flight level 250, and with that I'm going to engage autopilot 1. Autopilot 1 engaged. There's a little jolt, we can't do anything about that. So 250 blue, climb thrust, climb, nav still active. HD for the moment. I'm going to get rid of your ruler cup. It may come back. We've still got a couple of hours to go. We can release the cabin.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now use your electronic devices. Rechargeable battery packs are available for your smartphones and tablets at an additional super chats or super sticker cost. Please ask your cabin crew for more information.
And we're coming up on 10,000 feet as well, so let's turn the lights off. So that's 10,000 feet. We can start to climb away over 250 knots. And we can probably select our cruise altitude now as well. Check the progress page. So flight level 370, 390 is the optimum, so we could go higher if we wanted. But for now, I'm happy to take 370. 370 and 370 blue. I think we've just made HD's day. We'll get the cabin crew to serve the alcohol in a moment. So we'll just have a little enjoyment of the views that our passengers are getting, and once again, what a clear day. So we're really going to be able to enjoy the scenery today. Josh, so there is a shared cockpit app available. I've not used it or tested it myself. I know a couple that have, and I think it's one of those that half works, half doesn't. Some people have had success with it, but not all. I think it needs refining quite a bit before I would certainly before I would look at using it on a live stream. Paul, Easyjetsimpilot channel member. Good afternoon. Okay, let's get the passengers out of their seats. You can now walk around the cabin and start to stretch your legs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign, so you are free to move about the cabin. However, please note that we do recommend you fasten your seatbelts at all times.
HD, I am completely happy because, as we were talking about the other day, it's very easy to read it, and read all the information, but it's not until you actually do things and you've got that picture that we spoke about, you can understand what's happening and why. Digital, I bet you will have missed it just because the you'll have been taking off behind me, won't you? Chewie, I'm very happy when HD is happy. And the weather we can expect in Warsaw, a little windy, 12 knots, but it's got a couple of hours to cool down. We've got the afternoon to wait that out. So, what I'm going to look to do, as we've no air traffic control online, I'm going to go now to our next waypoint, as, oh, there's all the airports coming up on the navigation display. So, if I go direct to Misery, we're going direct to Misery, wonderful. That'll just start that left-hand turn. It doesn't clear up yet the flight routing that you should have done. That is still there. Oh, we're going to be passing over Charles de Gaulle, I believe. Been there a couple of times. I think I flew Ryanair there. Sorry. AROB 920 HD will confirm this, but in managed climb the aircraft basically chooses the most optimum climb rates for the aircraft based on cost index, winds, things like that. In open climb it targets the speed, so it raises the nose, the pitch and the attitude of the aircraft to maintain a speed, and it uses pitch to maintain speed, but HD will elaborate on that if that was incorrect. Exactly the same, or rather the opposite, as open descent and managed descent. Hello from France, cheese and wine as usual. We'll send the cabin crew round in a moment, don't worry. So a late afternoon stream today, but that's fine, I'm happy with that. So it's climbing up at about 2,200 feet per minute, just past flight level 250. And we've got HD's happy smiling face. Haha. So as by real ops, what I mean is we're essentially doing or trying to do everything as by the book as possible in the simulator. We're not just jumping in, pushing the thrust levers forward and departing. We go through all the proper cockpit preparation, we go through all the checklists, we set everything up as would be done in the real world, which is why we can spend sometimes an hour or more on the ground setting up. That has happened before, particularly when the data link went down in oh, I forgot where we were when that happened, so we had to program all the flight routing manually. Speedy, sadly, no, I don't. My eyesight's not good enough for that. Azal, if you want to join our Discord server, there is the pilot's briefing room on there, which has got, let's say, very, very well written, very well documented manuals on and procedures on flying the A320, for which we are eternally all thankful to HD for providing. Flight level 290, still climbing nicely. Good evening. Of course, it'll be over evening where you are, won't it? We are actually today as well, even though I'm flying a little bit later in the afternoon, we are on live time and live weather. So if there is anyone actually around Lille in France in the chat, can you just confirm that there's not a cloud in the sky? Azil, do you have trouble sleeping? Don't put yourself down, HD. I've sat for ages reading and absorbing, but you know, as I think I said during that departure, or certainly after the departure, you can read about it lots and lots and lots, but it's not until you actually start to put it into practice that things start to sink in and make a lot more sense. Top Gun, that's good feedback. So the little banner's a little harder to read, it might be a little bit smaller. Do you know what? I wonder if I can actually adjust that midstream. Still got 6,000 feet to go. So let me just have a little look. See what I can do about that. Don't think I can make it any bigger actually. Or I might be able to, but then it won't actually all fit the information in. Maybe a fraction bigger. So how's that looking, guys? Hopefully that works a little bit better for you. Digital, yeah, it did say ceiling and visibility okay on the one I'd got as well, the real Metal. So I'm presuming this is fine. This looks good. HD, you've done a great job with those manuals, and and I'm certain that it's not just me that reads them. I know loads of people will. I wish we could have sort of like a download counter for them, just to see how many times they get downloaded. I think we've got nearly 1,000 people in the Discord server. I'll double check that. So what have we got? Let me have a quick look. Have we got a number in there? Oh, we've got 1,100. 1,110 members of the Discord server. And I would urge anybody that wants to get more acquainted with flying the A320 correctly at taking a look at those. HD, you might have that info from the link, so that'd be quite interesting to find out. Flight level 340 then. I think just before we get to the top of the climb, our cabin service can now start. Would we like afternoon tea, or do you just want to dive straight into the alcohol tray? Well, I'm celebrating, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks including wine and locally sourced ales. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. This is a paid-for service, so please consider tipping the cabin crew and the channel using stickers or super chats. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the alcohol cart on its way down to you all. Flight level 350. And do we have any center control available online? No. No, we don't. So still no air traffic control online. That's okay. What you tend to find as well, particularly over Europe, is the later it gets, the more control centers come online. That's why when we flew the long haul flight yesterday, because it was evening their time, over in Bangkok, out towards Japan, for like the 2 hours that we first flew, we had air traffic control online, which was very realistic. It caused them a great headache because we were all flying on an airway we shouldn't have been, but it was entertaining nevertheless. So we're about to reach our cruise. Mac Alt Star. And once we get to flight level 370, we should see Alt Star convert to Alt Cruise to give us a nice cushioned ride. J-Hog, good afternoon. Yeah, I've changed the banner. As much as I did like the old one, I just thought it perhaps took up too much of the screen space. So you guys can now see a lot more. And we're on a mission to keep HD pleased today. So far so good. Sam C, hello. And there we go, Alt Cruise. And we're at our cruising point. So a little cabin announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Cockpit, once again, just to let you know that we've reached our cruise level for today's flight. We're not anticipating any delays, so we should have you at your destination on time as planned. As the cabin crew make their way around the aircraft, please make sure the aisles are clear on any items. Allow your mate to sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight. Thank you.
Okay, so let's do our top of climb checks. And as the SD pages don't always function correctly, this at the moment doesn't give us too much useful information, but it also checks that we haven't got any problems. So we've got our engines, bleed air, all looks good. Landing elevation auto, still showing minus 2,000 feet, so that's obviously not correct. Ooh. HD, confirm. Is that actually working for a change? No external power still connected. APU generator is offline. Generators 1 and 2 active. As are batteries 1 and 2 as well. I think this may be the first time. Is that a fluke, or have they done something? We're gonna can't wait to see what that shows tomorrow, guys. I will be very impressed. I do know that the fly-by-wire had obviously got it flagged up. For anyone wondering, this is the custom fly-by-wire build, and it was downloaded just before we started. Yeah, there's no amps in the batteries. You can't have everything. Is that showing 28 volts? Actually, I think that might be the first time I've seen that change. What does it need to be above? Is it something like 25.5? And below 60? Nick, is yours working as well? When did you download yours, and which version are you flying? Turn generator 2 off and see if it's reflected. Maybe on the ground. Okay. So the hydraulics page is obviously still not working. We know the fuel's been working for a while, it's just incorrect fuel burn. APU obviously not functional at the moment. And condition of the aircraft is fine. Doors obviously. Wheels, so we did have quite warm wheels taken off today. Not too excessive, but you can see they're now starting to cool down. And all the flight control computers are working. Do you know what I will check? Can we cycle the SD pages? No, we can't cycle through them. That's still not fixed, but never mind. I'm quite happy the electrical page looks somewhat normal. Alright, so where are we? We are... I love this. We are direct misery. This is the wrong flight to be miserable. So direct misery, we should be there in about 10 minutes. Let's just bring up that flight plan and compare that. Where are we? So direct misery, and we should be there in 10 minutes. We've been flying 21, we should be there at 31, that's spot on. The only thing of course that we know to be wrong is minimum, mind you this is a minimum, so don't take this as this is what you should have. This is minimum fuel on board 3.7, and we've got just slightly over 5 tons, so quite happy with that. Nick, the dev version, you downloaded the dev version just before the flight. The experimental did not have cup or the electronic flight bag. I'm flying the experimental version. I've got a cup and an electronic flight bag. Are you sure? The experimental custom fly-by-wire. Actually, I don't know. Is there a fourth one now? This is the custom fly-by-wire version. So HD, right? Before I do anything wrong, you're going to cut the grass. Yeah, you can. We'll be quite happy with that, and we'll see you for landing in around. Well, descent probably about an hour and 10 minutes. Let's get rid of that. There's nothing like the smell of cut grass. Ours has actually started to grow, given all the rain, snow and everything that we had 2-3 weeks back, which has obviously thawed and softened all the soil, and then we've had a few days of, well, we've had a few days of this, sunshine. So now things are starting to bloom, which means I'm going to have to cut the grass. I am not a gardener. I've got mud, grass, and that's it, and that's all I want. My biggest obstacle of cutting the garden is trying to cut it around the kids' toys. So let's have a look at our en route weather, shall we? Let's just bring up the VFR map for you all. So where are we? Of course we don't actually need the VFR map up here. I've just popped that there so you can see, but you can obviously see and zoom in. We've just left Brussels and Belgium. So we'll get a some en route weathers. We'll have a look at Hamburg. Echo Delta Delta Hotel. Let's pop that in. And we can probably also have a look at Hanover as well. Echo Delta Delta Victor. We could also look a little bit further afield as well if we needed to, so we can check those later on. We'll wait for that message to come through. J-Hog, the table version. We're all flying one of those. Still not a single cloud in the sky. So the approach that we are expecting as well, I'll just talk briefly about this for a moment. If we double check the weather, so we're expecting runway 29 in Warsaw when we get there. J-Hog, you're retired now, it's never too early to start the Strongbow Dark Fruit. Let's bring in the charts, shall we? Just get rid of the VFR maps so we're not confusing the two. So that's our departure, which we've flown. So our arrival begins just here at Bimpa. Nice to see actually, it says that it's a 1.5 minute hold rather than a 1 minute hold, which is the norm. Then from Bimpa down to Gozma or Gomsa, and then we have these waypoints 577009, 532. Just checking the speed restrictions as well, so we're actually quite slow for quite a long time if we're maintaining these speed restrictions. There is obviously a chance if air traffic control was online, or even in the real world, because there's not that much flying at the moment, that they'd tell us there was no speed restrictions. And it goes via Mapix, Kumut, and then Enimo, and then we start the approach to the initial approach fix. There's the final approach fix of the Star, where we want to, as you can see, be at 3,000 feet. And then if we come into the actual final part of the approach, there's Tebru, as you've just seen here. So just come down here. So there at Tebru we want to be descending to make sure we're at 3,000 feet by Whiskey Alpha 728, which is here. 7 miles to run to runway 29. And it is a RNP approach, or RNAV. So let's hope it works. Now we have a runway length there of 2,800 meters. To be honest, we could use ILS 33, and some of those flying with me may do, but I don't know. Just to see how the RNAV's working. Occasionally I like to do something like this, particularly when the weather's good. If we get there and the weather's absolute cack and I can't see anything, so I can't even go visual, then I'll go back to the ILS. But for this, we'll try the RNAV, see what happens. Something a little bit different. And just have a look at the glide path angle. So the glide path angle as well for the RNAV is slightly steeper than the normal 3 degrees. It's 3.5 degrees. And we'd be looking probably about a descent rate, depending on our speed, probably around the 800 knot mark. 800 knots, the 800 feet per minute mark, because we'll probably be coming in something like 125, 130. It's a little bit early to be calculating that just yet. There's digital giving us the latest METAR. Ceiling of visibility is okay. Alright, well I think that's just confirmed I'm going for the RNAV then. And a straight on headwind for runway 28, 10 knots. So everyone going for the ILS, they've got a 10 knot crosswind. It's not a full on crosswind if I just bring the airport chart back up. So they'll have a slight crosswind coming over from here, pushing them to the right. We're going to come in head on. So make your choices, gang, those of you flying with me. Are you going RNAV with an almost straight on headwind, or are you going ILS with the crosswind? Your choice. Unless of course air traffic control come online, in which case it's then their choice. Lewis, is my London Heathrow dark with no lighting? Do you know, I don't actually visit London Heathrow that often, but I can't say as I have noticed it being too dark. So has anything else yet been merged on the tablet? We've not got the scroll bar yet that they are talking about popping in. Performance, we've not got the takeoff and landing performance just yet, but we do have the top of descent calculator, so that's alright. We'll be using that in a little while. Digital's going RNAV, excellent. Nick, if you're there, what are you doing? or can we guess? I reckon you should go for the RNAV, Nick. So what we can do as well is we want to check passengers screaming. There, what are you screaming for? That was a gentle bank. We might have hit a little bump of turbulence as we made the bank, but that was nothing to do with nothing too terrible. Nick, are you going for the RNAV? Good man. Good man. Are you in front of me as well, or are you behind me? I've not checked the VATSIM map. Nick, yes, I did see that. You've got the sound options now in there on the flypad, which means obviously you can hear the PTU if you wish. So what I am going to do now is if we just bring these charts back in, we just check that you guys can see that. Yep. So bring these charts back in, and what I want to do is check the coding of this arrival, make sure it matches up. So we start at Bimper. Let's just go down, sort all this out. Right, so here we've got a little bit of an anomaly. So we get Bimper in there. It then takes us straight to the airport, goodness knows why, and then it goes back to Bimper again. So what we will do is when we get to Dossix up here, we're just going to go direct, skip these, go direct to this Bimper, not this one, because we can't delete them. The simulator doesn't like us deleting waypoints. So we'll go direct to this Bimper, and then from there let's check the charts. So it is Bimper, then to Gomza, then to 507, 509, 507, 709, 532, 531, let's just scroll that up, 531, Abapa, and then Mapix, followed by Kumit, and then after Kumit, what do we have? So after Kumit we have Enimo, followed by 733, 732, 731, 729, and hopefully finally Tebru. Oh, where's Tebru? Why is Tebru not there? 729. We do have 728. Right, okay. As we look down here, actually, Tebru's not that important. 728 is the important point. That's the point where we should, in theory, be able to press the approach button, and the final approach should kick in. If not, what we can do instead is at this point, that's where we want to start to descend at a 3.5 degree angle, all the way down to the runway. Simple as that. Doesn't it sound easy? Dougal, good afternoon. Hope you are well. Jadhav, good afternoon as well. Yeah, so we've got a little new overlay there. I don't know if I should take a vote. I haven't deleted the old one. I do still have the old one. I just thought this is exactly as you have just said, Jadhav. This one is a little less intrusive. Still displays all the information there. One of the things I do like about it is it actually has the it uses the Easyjet font, and it is less intrusive, so you can see everything. You've got a better perspective of what I'm seeing. So you'll have to let me know, guys. Tell me if you like it or not. Let's have a look at these en route weathers then, shall we? Messages received. The meta. So digital, I mean, that is a very big question. How hard is the the new overlay to read. Obviously the other one was quite big, so very easy to see. If you're watching this on a smartphone, I would imagine it probably is a little bit difficult, to be fair. Gordon, hello. So you don't know if I'm in control of everything regarding the banner. Personally, you don't like it. Oh, fair enough. Between the data, just a minor detail. Otherwise, it looks neater than before. So I would agree with you on that. That's why I don't mind feedback. I'm happy to go back to the old one, but I do believe this one is neater. I think if you're watching it on a TV or a tablet, you can see much more. Right, so how are our weather's doing? Look at this. So there's Warsaw, Hamburg, no clouds, no changes. Hanover, no clouds, no changes. Beautiful day in Europe. Good, right, so you just don't like the columns between the data. Let's have a look at that, shall we? I see what you mean. Actually, some of them do look a little bit close to the actual data, don't they? So you've got obviously departure, arrivals, ETA, and that spacing there looks okay to me. There is a little bit, what looks a little bit crunched up is the altitude. Other than that, I think the others are okay. The vertical speed as well, that's new. That wasn't in the old one, so that's a new one for you to check out. Snake Eyes question, what are the letters after a runway designation means? So obviously Zulu, Yankee, etc. They are just different, and I mean very slightly different approaches. So ILS, you'll have an ILS Zulu approach, you'll have an ILS Yankee approach. The difference may be the initial approach fix, the final approach fix. It may also be that it uses a different waypoint or VOR on the missed approach sector, so there may not be any difference at all with the actual main approach in the ILS, the way you do the ILS approach into the airport. But maybe the missed approach VORs might be different. Maybe perhaps if one's unserviceable and out of use, they have to use the other one, so they'll just revert to a different missed approach procedure. So ILS Zulu will have one missed approach, ILS Yankee will have a different missed approach. Chewie, how have you... your aircraft probably turned around. It wouldn't be the first time. Gordon, I can double check that. The fonts are obviously different between the headings and the data, but I think the actual data... oh, actually, no, you're quite right. The aircraft font is slightly different. That's the only one. The aircraft font is different. That's a quick, easy change. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve our dinner menu. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. If you would like to upgrade your meal to the premium package, please pay the cabin crew using stickers or super chats to help support the channel. Thank you.
Excuse me if you heard me just grabbing a drink there. Have to keep hydrated. Willie, you never noticed the two yellow hooks on the wing? Ooh, check this out. That's a great idea. Kit Kat. I think I've got some of those in the cupboard. I mean the galley. Oh, Willie, we always get one. Which airport can we see flashing away down there? So down there we have got Hanover. Willie, I'm not entirely sure. Shumi, where did you get your route from? You may be flying a completely different route to us. It may be rather sad, but I could just sit and watch this wing view all day. Forget what's happening in the flight deck. Especially during the cruise stages of the flight. Even when there's some clouds, I think they look amazing. Digital, am I flying a different route to the lot of you? Let me get on VATSPI, see where you all are. Where have you gone? In fact, I don't have VATSPI on the simulator PC. I'm just going to have to download that. In fact, I'll get it on the phone instead. The phone's probably better. And then I can see where you guys have all gone. Snake Eyes, do I have a video looking at Navigraph? It's if any of you guys have checked out the channel, there's a new tutorial series currently being built on there, the sort of like the real world tutorial series. And that is I'm going to do a chart reading tutorial on there, plus of course on the live streams. I'm hoping now I can get Navigraph up on the live streams as well, like this one, just so you can see exactly what it is that we're doing. Ah, right. Shumi, Digital, you all went towards Amsterdam, did you? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Why did you go to Amsterdam? Is that a routing that SimBrief gave you, out of interest? ARob920, is there any easy way to get these wing views? I've basically set these custom views up myself because they're a lot better than the default ones that ship with the simulator. So we've obviously got a right hand wing view there and a left hand view. You've only got 2 windows to actually look out of, so you can't do anything about that, but you can choose where the camera sits. Shumi, the operational flight plan gave you the departure, so is that the operational flight plan from SimBrief, I presume? Right, so when you guys are flying with me, do you pull in the Easyjetsimpilot SimBrief name on the McDo, or do you just create your own operational flight plan so you've got different payloads and things like that? Because I did go into SimBrief to obviously to create this. I always use SimBrief, and it sent me up via Amsterdam, and I did not like that. So I went in and made my own. So okay, so the blue and orange lines, they're just basically airspace barriers. So you can see that we've got a yellow line at the moment around, is it Hanover Airport? Hang on, that just needs to repopulate, give that a second. Yeah. And there are a whole host of other things as well. So the different classes of airspace. Ah, so Nick generates his own. Digital and Shumi always always use SimBrief. Well, that's fair enough. The SimBrief is normally absolutely perfect 99% of the time, but occasionally he gave me a naff routing going all the way up to Amsterdam and then across. I thought there's got to be a quicker route than that. So, yeah. Otherwise, I think what the initial routing wanted to do from SimBrief today was depart, as you say, from down here and then go all the way up to Amsterdam and then come across. So I've basically just done a routing which cuts out the middleman, goes diagonally, and we're now en route. Willie, for some extra fun, ask VATSIM to give you a route from Iceland to Halifax in Canada. Does it not give you a direct, or did he give you some sort of strange polar routing? So Nick, you've all gone via Amsterdam and I've just taken a shortcut. Ah, always worth checking the routing before departing. I called up the planning office and said, nah, I'm not doing that. Dark Fury, I bet the suggested route in SimBrief that cuts out Amsterdam will be the one that I've just put into it and used, because it stores other users' routes, as long as they obviously match up with the current Eric cycle. Really? It takes you all the way from Iceland back to Scotland, then chucks you on a nat track. How very inefficient. Okay guys, so I just need to disappear for a few minutes. I'm going to go and get a drink. I will be back in about 5 minutes or so, and then back in 5 minutes or so, and then I'll be back with you in the chat room for a little bit before we start to discuss our arrival, at which point I will come back on the microphone. So, happy flying guys. I shall be back with you in 5 minutes. Hey guys, so back with you. Oh, Nick, you must be counting your lucky stars. The gods are shining on you tonight. Looks like an ILS approach is in order, which means that I need to change the flight plan. So yeah, winds 330 at 11. Let's just go ahead and start putting all this information in. We're not that far away from starting our descent now anyway. So we're going to change what's happening here. We're going to make the ILS 33 Zulu approach, and it's still the exact same star actually, still the same star. So what I want to do is that I want to see how that looks on the flight plan. So let's scroll through that. So via Whiskey Alpha 532, do you know what, if we get rid of that, will that tidy up that flight plan a little bit, because that didn't look particularly clean, did it? ILS 33 Zulu, so it's still the BIMPU 4 uniform. In fact, no it's not, that might be the issue. 1 second, let's have a look. Oh, it is. It's now the 4 uniform, so it has changed. So it is the 4 uniform via Whiskey Alpha 536, if it will allow us to. That's got 534 in there, hasn't it? Which is just after it. So the BIMPA 4 uniform, let's select that. Via 534. There we go. Let's insert that and see if that clears things up a little bit on the plan. Scrolling through. So once again it's going to take us, let's check these waypoints and how it looks. In fact, the best way to do that for you guys to see on the stream is probably to just bring the VFR map over and have a look here. So still starts at BIMPA, then Gosma, then it's wanted to take us to Lamvo, that's correct. After Lamvo, Utmix, Otmal, Negen, Barna, and then back around, that's fine. So we've just still got a slight backtrack on ourselves, and that's just a problem with the simulator we can't avoid, unfortunately. So all we shall need to do is, once again, once passing DO6 just here, we just want to go direct to BIMPA just there. So that's all okay. I'm happy with that. The coding is in and right, but we're not far away from actually starting our top of descent now. So let's just get the weathers so we can start popping those into the performance page. Send those off. That'll come through in a moment. And the initial briefing still stands. We want to be at about flight level 120 by Whiskey Alpha 507. So how many miles away are we from Whiskey Alpha 507? I can't tell with all those airpoints on. Let's turn that off. Whiskey Alpha 507, so we're about 80 miles out now. We can start to slow the aircraft down, and we can just use our performance calculator. So we want to be at 12000, distance of, let's call it 70 miles, just so we can slow down a bit as well, and about 2,500 feet per minute. I am going to slow the aircraft down as we descend, so let's just look at rolling the speed back. That reduces our descent rate a little bit to about 2,300 feet per minute. So check there's no air traffic control online. They would have given us a shout, I think, if there was, but there is not. So we're going to descend now to flight level 120. start that descent, and we're going to engage a vertical speed of 2,300 feet per minute and roll that speed down as well, just to pull that back. So vertical speed minus 2,300 feet per minute and flight level 120 blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking again from the flight deck. You'll be delighted to know that we'll be starting our descent shortly towards our destination, and the cabin crew will start preparing the aircraft for our arrival. If you could make sure the hours are clear for the cabin crew so they can make their way around the aircraft, that would be most appreciated. Thank you very much, and we'll have an update for you shortly.
Okay, so just a couple of things that I need to double check that haven't changed since our last brief. I have been checking these off whilst I've been off the microphone actually, but we just want to check that transition altitude obviously still the same. Missed approach altitude 3,000 feet still the same, so our minimum descent altitude is now 557. We also now have a platform altitude to adhere to, which is 3,000 feet. Okay, which we should intercept about 8 miles away, 8.3. Starting to get a little bit dark, so let's turn some lights on, shall we? Enter destination data. We shall go ahead and do that in a moment. And what's our landing elevation? 354. There we are. So hopefully that's pleased Nick. He gets to do an ILS approach. One thing I will want to check as well is let's just have a quick look at what we need to pop into the RadNav page. So it's not populated yet, but I will make a note of it in case it doesn't auto-populate, as sometimes happens here in the sim. The ILS frequency is 110.3. And for our missed approach, we're turning left to the Warsaw VOR, which is, we can just type that in, Whiskey Alpha Romeo. Whiskey Alpha Romeo. And if we wished, we can also pop in the VOR at the actual airport, Oscar Kilo Charlie. Oscar Kilo Charlie. Not in the database. Try again. Oscar Kilo Charlie. Oh, okay. Can we type the frequency instead? 11345, see if that works. 113.45. And if we turn that onto our display, it's starting to get a bit hazy, isn't it? It's not actually picking anything up. I would have thought we may have been close enough for that, but maybe not. Oh well, never mind. Hopefully we won't need it. Just double checking, actually there's 113.5 there. Should it not read 11345? Interesting. Okay, so let's get our performance then typed up and in. RB26, what website do you use for calculations on weight? The weights are given to you from SimBrief. Let's have a look at the weather and get that coded in. So, weather messages, there we go. Let's print that off and then we can pop that in. So we're now approaching Bimper. What I would like to do now is, if possible, let's go flight plan. I want to go direct to the second Bimper, which is just there. So then straight after that we should go to Gomza. So let's go direct. See if that inserts. Not 100% sure that worked, so we'll go direct to Gomza in around 17 miles. Has that printed off? There we go. Alright, so very quickly let's just plan this in and then we can change the flight plan in a moment. So the QNH 1030, temperature +7, winds 330 at 11, 330 at 11, transition altitude is 6,500 feet, minimum descent altitude is 557. So let's roll that speed back now. I believe we want to start rolling back to about 250 knots, if that's right. So, or 280 knots actually at Bimper, 250 knots by Gomza. So we can roll that back up a little bit. Late evening sun here in Poland does mean the aircraft will look rather nicely lit up with the low sun in the sky. There we are. Very nice. So I'm just watching this. What I'm going to do now is just before we hit Bimper, I'm going to look to arm that direct command that we need to pop in. So direct to Gomza. That's now showing on the navigation display. Pop that in. And there we go. That's actually cleared up as well the problems with the flight plan. So that's quite nice. Turn those constraints on. And we'll make a quick call on Unicom, as we still don't have any air traffic control around. So I'll just check that we should still be on Unicom. Oh, why are we not on Unicom anymore? I haven't changed that. Someone's been fiddling with my dials while I've been out of the flight deck. 122.8. Warsaw traffic, easy 34 Alpha Mike, flight level 190, and we're just starting our approach on the Bimper 4 uniform, arrival for runway 33 ILS approach at Warsaw. Surely, is this exactly how the weather is right now? How far are you away from Warsaw Airport? So starting to reduce that speed now to 250 knots by Gomza. We're 13 miles away. Oh, Chummy, you're only 8 kilometres from the airport. Oh, excellent. Well, you'll be able to let us know how well it looks then when we get there. And Shazil is also in Warsaw. Excellent. Well, it's nice to know that the simulator is looking good. $10 miles to run. Let's start to slow those air brakes down. 10 miles to run, that is till the next waypoint, Gomza, not the airport. So the weather and the landing information has been obtained. The flight management guidance computer is all coded in. I will need to check that RadNav page. Landing elevation 354. Auto brake not required. I would potentially have used it on the other runway, but this is a much larger runway, so we don't need it now. We've gone through our arrival briefing. We won't need the terrain radar on. Let's start setting up the standby 1030. Is that right? 1030? Yeah, 1030 on the standby instrument. also will self-loading cargo tell me to start getting those passengers ready to get strapped in?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit,
537 radio
destination. There's no delays ahead of us. We should have you on the ground very shortly. If you could please assist the cabin crew by past the ventilator you may have as they come around. And for your safety, please make sure your seatbelts are fastened, the electronic devices are switched on, plugged into airplane mode, and the aircraft toilets will also be out of use. We hope you've enjoyed the flight, and we'll have you on ground safely shortly.
So after passing Osmo, we want to be, actually, I'm slightly ahead of myself. So it's actually at Whiskey Alpha 507, we want to be below 12,000 feet, as you can see just there, or flight level 120 rather. So what we can do is now hold 250 knots.
Warsaw, after contact 4 is vehicle with the wings higher runway 50 approx vehicle for uniform.
I'm just looking to see if on the chart if we've got any track miles on here to run. I don't think we have. We have to add those up manually. So track miles to run would be 18, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. We've probably got about 50 miles to run to get down to 3,000 feet. So we can use this actually to help us if we want to. So we set a target altitude of 3,000 feet and 50 miles to run. So we don't need to start that descent just yet. It'll be a long, steady descent. Will, to get sound packs for it, you need to be on their Discord channel, I think. I think there's plenty in there. So we've got a maximum speed as well coming up from Lambo. Maximum speed is 220 knots. Realistically, very little traffic around. They probably give us no speed restrictions, so I'm not going to be too concerned if we're not at 220 knots by that point. But as you can just see here from the charts, there's Lambo maximum 220 knots for all this routing. What they would probably do as well is just give us a direct turn us left early or vector us in. We wouldn't fly the full procedure. You'd land flaps 3 if you got quite bad weather, bad turbulence. Basically, you're landing at a higher approach speed. So that's when you'd use flaps 3 for landing. Love that little reflection we've got on the inside of the glass as we start to turn. And there's the orange sun lighting up the flight deck. Again, the graphics look amazing. Okay, so we're now going to start that steady descent down to altitude 3,000 feet. So let's set that. I'm going to set a descent rate of 1,000 feet. I want to hold 220 knots. Standard pressure. And thrust idle, vertical speed 1,000 feet. and altitude 3,000 feet. Yeah, I'll probably do the full approach on this. I would have probably needed to start descending a little bit earlier for that if I had to. Let me just check the RadNav page. That frequency is not populated, so we're going to put the frequency in. Then we need to get the seatbelt signs on and run the approach checklist. 10.3. There we go, that's all coded in. Turn on the LS, and that's populated nicely. Okay, seatbelt signs coming on, and we shall run the approach checklist. So, minimum set both sides, engine mode select norm, and electronic flat back is stowed.
Has turned on the seatbelt sign.
Somebody calling, get time 751.
Thank you.
Go ahead for jet time 751. Reach 5.
The decel point as well, you can see right in the centre of the navigation display at the moment, so that's when the aircraft will look to start slowing down and enter the approach phase automatically. When that happens, of course, always remember you need to select manage mode, unless you've been given other speed restrictions from air traffic control. So Nick, are you much happier now that we've got an ILS approach coming in? Tell me you weren't looking forward to the RNAV. Let's get those lights on, we've just passed 10,000 feet. Oh, what am I doing? I don't need those on just yet. So landing lights are out. Have we actually turned those on? Yep. Just like to increase that rate of descent a little bit. Nick, you're getting good at RNAV. We're all good at RNAV when it works. Well, where's the toilet open? There isn't a toilet open button. It's turn the seatbelt signs off.
Warsaw traffic, jet time 751 on a 5 mile final runway 33.
So there's traffic landing here at Warsaw. Can't see any lights out our left window. He says he's on the final. We're, to be fair, he's probably well behind us. We're 17 miles out. Amtrak, good afternoon, good timing. Okay, so starting to slow the aircraft down now. Enter the approach phase is activated. And we're slowing down and making that base turn. And you can just see the glide slope, even at this altitude now, is starting to make an appearance.
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing.
Alright, well, yeah, they are meant to be updating it, just not quite just yet. I think they held off because Microsoft had kept pushing the date back for their updates. Really, what's the ETA say? It's because it goes direct line of sight. It doesn't realise we have to fly an actual approach path. So we'll look at turning the localizer on in a moment. Just watching for the magenta triangle to start moving.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please make sure you are seated with your belts fastened.
Lock star, Cat 1 single.
Any items should be safely stored.
There's the runway ahead of us.
All electronic devices until after landing. Thank you.
And we're about 18 miles to run. Warsaw traffic, easy 34 Alpha Mike established, runway 3317 miles to run.
Warsaw traffic, runway 33 vacated.
So that's the runway vacated, no worries there. And we can now go flaps 1, speed check, flaps 1. So just pitching down quite a bit there as the aircraft fights those flaps. I presume that's somebody else in the chat behind me that's coming in. I don't know who's behind me straight away. 14 miles to run.
Warsaw traffic,
Alt star.
start up runway, correction, 331.
And speed. So we're holding altitude 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet set, which is also the missed approach altitude. AROB 920, yeah, it's the flaps that have been overdone, that's why it's doing it. Glide slope is alive. 10 miles out. So coming up to 9 miles now, and we'll go flaps 2. And enter the approach mode, glide slope blue. Glide slope captured, missed approach altitude set. Radio altimeter alive. Also traffic easy 34 Alpha Mike, runway 337 mile final.
Warsaw traffic easy 594 is established ILS 33, 17 miles.
17 miles, so hopefully he's not too fast.
To 464 overhead, left mode.
And we shall be looking to vacate onto Sierra 2. Onto Sierra 2. So not the first taxiway on the right, the second one, as you can see, no entry.
Also traffic code 537 will taxi to home runway 29 via Alpha and Echo.
So 5.5 miles to run. Let's get the landing gear down. Auto brake not required. Ground spoilers armed.
Warsaw traffic is ESI4, it's about 19 nautical miles.
Get the lights out.
On runway 33.
And we can go flaps 3, speed check, flaps 3. There's that headwind that we were expecting. And flaps full. Ding the cabin.
Cabin crew seats for landing.
Okay, so cabin is secured for landing. Auto thrust speed. Go around altitude is set. ECAM memo landing no blow. 1,000 feet. And we can now disengage autopilot 1. I have control. Reduce down to Cat 1. Let's try and regain that center line a little bit. As you can see, we're a little bit to the left of it. Now the Pappies and the glide slope disagreeing a little bit as well. 500 feet, approach stable. Land.
100 above.
So I'm going to work on the Pappies rather than the glide slope, as that glide slope looks a little bit inaccurate to me. So holding about 700 feet per minute with that descent rate. 100. Roll out, reverses on.
Easy 594 is 9 mile final, minimum speed.
And take the reverses off.
537 immediate departure runway 29.
Easy on 9 miles final, could you speed up a bit? We're just behind you and we can slow even more. Easy 54.
Yeah, but there's one in front as well.
Yeah, it's already landed.
Or 32 Fahrenheit, so if you have a jacket or coat, you might want to put it on before exiting the aircraft. Please
Warsaw
remain
traffic,
seated until the
runway
aircraft arrives at the
33
gate.
vacated.
You are reminded to keep all electronic devices switched off until you have entered the airport terminal. Thank you for flying with Easyjet.
Okay, so we can hold it there past the start bars, just put that parking brake on, clean the aircraft up a little bit. Start the APU, turn off the runway, turn off lights, turn off the landing lights, turn off the strobe lights. There we go. Right, where are we parking? So, as I said, we've just vacated onto Sierra 2, so we need to taxi back now. There's Sierra 2, so we'll go left on, right on Alpha 3, and then just pick a parking stand over on the over on the right, over there. So guys, hang around if you want to see the replay, and if not, if you're going to make a quick exit onto the taxiway, then please do me a favour, hit that like button before you do. It would be appreciated.
Warsaw traffic, Skyway 5556 established on the ILS runway 33, 16.5 miles out.
Warsaw traffic, Easyjet is on short final 7 miles from airport.
And there's 2 aircraft coming in to land.
Easyjet
I hope that's the perspective,
3 miles.
but it looks quite close, that doesn't it? So we'll pop this aircraft in front of the terminal over here. Let's turn those taxi lights off. We should have actually taxied up here and then come across, but never mind. Oh well, that's one less car on the road. And we'll have a look at the replay in a moment, guys. Have we got people in the jetway? In the airport? Wow! How amazing is that? Parking stand 11, apparently. Between 11 and 12. Oh, I see. Actually, 11 and 12 are pretty much the same thing depending on aircraft size. I believe it's a heavy, which is why there's a dual jetway. Right. Parking brake on. APU is running. Shut down engine 1. In fact, we'll do that when we come back. So hey, look, the people in the terminal are actually moving as well. So we'll have a little look around the terminal as well, guys. Let me just stop the recording. So I'm going to have a quick look around this terminal. This is another freeware aircraft. In fact, if I am going to look around the terminal, I do want to cut those engines. So engine 1, engine 2 stopped. Here comes the logbook.
Warsaw traffic, Easyjet 54 is 3 miles final.
There we go. And beacon light can come off.
Sigma 464 is established runway 33, and we have 17 miles to go.
Connect external power, and APU can come off. Passengers can come off as well. What was the touchdown rate, guys, on that? Because I don't get to see it. I'm curious to see what self-loading cargo suggests. Self-loading cargo's touchdown rate was 148, so I'll be interested to see what the two are like.
Easy 594 is vacated.
So late landing clearance for that aircraft. But yeah, so here's another great piece of freeware scenery from flightsim.to. Lovely to see. Dark Fury, 301 feet per minute. That's rubbish. The self-loading cargo app gave us a much more realistic one. 148. I'm going to go with self-loading cargo for that landing. And there it is, the Chopin Airport here in Warsaw.
Warsaw traffic, Skyway 5556 fully established, ILS runway 33, 4.5 miles out.
Okay guys, so I'm going to zip in and we're going to take a little look at that replay before we finish the stream for this evening. So I just need to get back into the flight deck and let's load that replay. Let me just shut down self-loading cargo, as otherwise that will interfere with it and you'll probably hear screaming passengers throughout the replay. So that's just going to load. And disconnect from VATSIM, of course, before you do this. We just have to give this a minute or so. as it has to repopulate all the scenery back in that it has just flown over. But that scenery looked lovely. I shall look forward to visiting there again. So there we go. There's the aircraft loading in. Everything's turned off, as you can see, because we turned the power off on the ground. But if we select play, actually, select play, everything begins working again. So we can now enjoy this landing from the passenger's perspective. Spoilers up a little bit there. Can't recall if they were or not. Don't think they were. Aviator, I don't blame you, mate. 10:15 PM, bedtime. When it's 10:15 PM here, it'll be B&B time for me. We can probably just speed up this replay a little bit, as we're quite far away. Let's just stop that a sec. And oh dear, I've messed that up. Oh, this is the problem with the software. Active pause. Right, let me load that flat. Let me try and load that in again. And we've crashed. Oh guys, I'm sorry. It is so easy to do. There are so many things you've got to try and remember when you're doing that. So yeah, that replay overstressed the aircraft. Let's just head back out to the main menu. Other than that, if you want an actual replay, you're just going to have to press the rewind button on YouTube. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I can't just press stop, otherwise the aircraft will do daft things. But never mind. So thank you very much to everyone who watched the flight with me today. Hope you all enjoyed that. Big shout out to all the channel members and for those flying alongside me as well. If you want to become a member of the Easyjetsimpilot channel, then please hit that join button and see the perks on offer. Big thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel as well and given the stream a like as we've been going on. Great to see you all. Thank you very much for having you on board, and I look forward to the next stream, which will be tomorrow daytime. It will not be tonight. No live stream tonight. It will be tomorrow daytime. Thanks very much, everyone, and I shall see you all then. Bye bye for now.